And you are now live on the internet, boys.
Evening.
Right.
So today is going to be a little bit different because obviously I interact with you two in the shop, and obviously Daryl I interact with in the shop as well. Now, if I'm going to try and create some proper content for the internet and do a proper job at a live stream and things like that, what I need you to do, I'm not sure whether you've seen Little Britain when it was on back in the day.
No.
No? You're not a Little Britain fan? Right.
Never seen it.
So one of the sequences in Little Britain was a hypnotist. And what he used to do was he went, look into my eyes, not around the eyes, but into my eyes. Focus on my eyes. Now, 3, 2, 1, you're asleep. Now, what you've got to do is you've got to forget, 1, where you see me all the time. 2, you've got to forget that I've got an actual fish tank here and there and there and there and there and there and there. And what you've also got to remember is I'm going to try and make it as difficult as possible for you fuckers. Right. Yes. Because obviously, if we're going to do a live stream platform and it is me talking and things like that, then you two don't get to talk a lot because I talk far too much. So I actually had a bit of a thought that if I'm now starting a brand new 3-foot tank, there's a lot of people that walk into the shop and they say, this might be a stupid question, but X, Y, Z, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Now, if there are stupid questions in the marine hobby, surely this would be an easy way of putting the stupid questions on the internet, because they're not stupid questions. But if you have to ask the question, then potentially you've got to walk into a shop and talk to the people that are there, that are experts, basically. Whereas if I'm going to try and forget all of the things that I know about the marine hobby and then get your input of how to do things, then the simple things that we all take for granted, they're not simple things because we all had to learn them at some stage. So if I take myself right back to day one of a marine fish tank and try and produce content on this side of the door, but pick holes in the thought process of marine tanks and how to do them, then ask you two, and obviously Daryl when he gets wherever he's getting, simple questions that may not actually be that simple. So I've now got a proper book to write questions down. Try and think about content.
Doing well here.
I know. I've not picked a clipboard for a particular reason.
Has it got notes on it, or is it just shit sketches?
No, it has got notes on it, but yeah. But I can always draw dick pics. Don't worry about it. So, you know, when you're first setting up a fish tank, and obviously I did the content during the week of the pump that I've got as a 4,000 litre pump and a 300 watt heater. Now, the heater, a 300 watt, I would say is about right for that size tank. Would you both agree or would you disagree?
I think that's what I've got in my 4-foot.
Have you worked out what volume tank it is?
So I'm guesstimating about 250-ish, something like that.
250. So is it a rule of thumb, depending on ambient, if it's decent ambient, is it 2.5 watts per litre? Is it something like that? I can't remember now. 2.5 watts, 10 litres? I can't remember the rule of thumb. There is a rule of thumb for cool ambient and warm ambient.
And what have you got in your 2 foot cube behind you?
I've got 2 small ones. What are they? I think they are. Did I go for 100 watts each or 150? I can't remember. I did 2. I did like almost redundancy. So if one did fail, there's still enough to keep temperature in it. Let me have a look. I can't remember what it was.
Right.
Uh,
So obviously you've got 2, and I've got 1, and Ross has got 1, and 300 for about. It does say on the side of the packet, but I think 300 is about where it needs to be. But then obviously it then leads you on to, in your sump, you've got, Ross has got 3 chambers or 4 chambers.
3.
So which chamber is your heater in?
The first one.
The first,
Simply
coming direct
because
from the tank.
Pardon?
Direct from the tank. That's where your heater is.
Direct from the tank. Simply because the heater itself, when I first set it all up, the heater it seems quite long, but it's the biggest chamber, so it just fit nicer. That was all.
Right. Where have you put your 2, Dave?
and the cube, it is in the first chamber because that is the only room I've got. But in my frag system, I've got 2 heaters again for redundancy, and they're in the middle of the sun.
So I did ask this question today to a customer that's coming to the shop that's got a 6 foot, and he said he puts his heater in the middle chamber. Now, the thing of the thought process of what I am trying to achieve is that the guy that was in the shop today said there are some things that are just common sense, but common sense sometimes, my common sense and your two's common sense is different. And there have been customers that have come into the shop that have put their put their heater in the return.
Wouldn't do that purely because it can fluctuate on water level, and usually it's the lowest chamber anyway, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you've got more chance of it burning out.
So if the thought process of, again, me trying to forget everything and try and cover things, if there's a consensus of opinion that there is only one way of doing it, then in theory that is the one way of doing it. And there's a lot of things in the marine hobby that is standard for everything, but then there's other things which, when we get further into, because I'm not even on week 1 of this tank yet, but when we get further in, there are going to be a lot of things that are going to be challenging, that I'm going to put things in and try and test to see whether there is a one way of thinking about things, or whether, have you both got the same person walking through? Because literally somebody's walked through, both of you, and you both at the same time went, who was that?
Don't think so. No, mine's the dog.
Yeah, you both just went, oh, at exactly the same time. Because there's nobody on the internet that's, 1, doing a live stream, or 2, doing content that is trying to put themselves back to day 1 of starting a brand new marine tank. Because it's very daunting at the beginning of starting a brand new marine tank. But if there is a consensus of opinion of you lot being in the hobby, and I'm going to lead the questions, then it's me that's being stupid and you're giving your informed view of what you would do. And then the consensus of opinion is where the heater is, either the first chamber or the second chamber, but definitely don't put it in the return. You get where I'm trying to go?
Yeah.
Right. So, tick. You have both passed, boys. Well done. I'm going to get like a sound effect, I think. Right. The lighting that's above my tank. Now, you have gone bracket behind you, Dave. Ross, you've gone bracket. Now, both of those lights come with the bracket as standard. Yeah. So
Yeah.
my light is slightly different.
What
If-
did we go for in the end?
We went
I
for a
can't
Hydra
remember.
26. Have you not been watching? We
I
went.
can't remember. I've slept since then.
Yeah, exactly. So have I. We went for a Hydra 26, and I'll go through that in one of my videos. But you have to buy the bracket as an
Yeah.
addition.
They're all expensive as well, aren't
They are expensive. Would you buy the bracket, or would you go suspended from the ceiling?
Which depends on your space and what you want to do, really, doesn't it? As you can see from mine, it's underneath the stairway, so it's an angle anyway, so it's awkward for suspending. And I don't really want to suspend it, attach stuff to the ceiling either, so that's why I use the bracket.
Do you think you'd have been able to get away with drilling holes in the ceiling for your missus?
This is what I mean. So it was awkward anyway, and I just don't think I would have been. I think I'd been shot if I did it.
Dave?
It's easy with a bracket, isn't it? It is more convenient just to clip it on the back or the side of the tank rather than mess about measuring up centre lines and
On this,
so
this tank itself was actually pretty awkward to fit even that bracket, because the tank itself is 4 foot and the light itself is 4 foot. So the brackets that come out and go and sort of, you know what I mean? The brackets itself, even at the shortest point, was too wide for the tank to clip over. I had to put some packers in it to do it.
to be fair, that max spec with having the oak hood, it was too thick to clamp on, so I've had to basically just screw it to the back of the hood. So when you take the hood off, the light comes with. So yeah, it wasn't straightforward, but it's easier than still fixing to the ceiling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if I was to go for the bracket option, obviously the brackets that are on these AIs, they can be adjusted, whereas your two's lights, I think it's a fixed bracket, is it not?
Mine, you can lower or higher it.
Well, I think there's a little bit of movement, but like I say, with screwing it to the hood, I had some leeway anyway for where I wanted it. So, but yeah, you want a bit of movement up and down. It's not going to be perfect where it is from the factory, is it?
I think I've got mine set at about 9 inches above.
That is where I was going down. Obviously, the height that your light sits above the tank. If my light and the bracket were brand new to me, how high is high enough, or how low is low enough? Is there a specific depth or height from the water level?
There probably is a technical way of doing it. I did it for ease of working underneath the light. You don't want it too low, so you're banging your head on it all the time or trying to squeeze underneath it.
What do we think, Dave? Height above the water?
You got to look at when you got it on. You got to look at the spread. It's a good starting point that you've got if you don't want any shading to the sides. And if you want to be really technical, I suppose you could use a par meter. That's a good note of where you're going to get your shaded spots. I know you've got power levels and what have you then, but it's a good start. You can always move it up, can't you?
Right. So if it's week 1 of me turning that light on,
you're not going to use a par meter, definitely not.
You're not going to use a par meter.
No.
What would you do with light settings? Because obviously there's a lot of stuff on the internet of, oh, I run my light at 50% or I run it at 75%. But obviously that is light specific. But if I'm choosing a profile of a lighting profile, which in the first 4 weeks, does it matter?
Yeah, because you'll get algae blooms very quickly. So you want it on reasonably low and then ramp it up over a couple of weeks. I'd have thought you could try it at 50% and try it at that. It depends on what lighting profile you've got. You know, you can have 2 hours of the full power, whatever it's set at, or 6 hours of the full power. So it does depend on what profile you've got, really. Or there's some most lights have an acclimatization tick box, don't they? If you've got, you know, if it's app controlled, if it's switch on and off, then you're the app, aren't you?
Yeah. So again, you two boys are doing really, really well. And I'm going to give you another round of applause, because the next thing was obviously, would you put the light on an acclimation setting? You're nicking my content now. Come on, I've thought about this.
I haven't. I never have. I've only ever had 3 LED lights. The first one didn't have one. This one behind me didn't bother because the corals had got reasonable. They've already had reasonable light, and the hive was on the frag tank. I've not actually set them up yet, so.
But they are turned on.
They are on. They're on about 60%, I think. They're on some kind of profile, but I haven't tweaked them or positioned them properly yet.
So if I'm setting this tank up, is there a particular, because obviously the AI app that it's on there's a lot of different profiles out there of different people that have done lighting profiles, and then the lighting profile would then revert back to an acclimation mode, which would be 50% of that profile. But some profiles run at quite a low intensity, or a low blue or a high blue. So what sort of, because me and Ross sort of did this when he was changing from one tank to the other tank, of ramping your lights up.
Yeah.
If it's brand new, all the things are brand new that's in the tank, would you start at a 20% or a 25% or a 50%?
I'd probably still start around 20% and just work up from that.
Do we agree, Dave?
Yeah, go with that.
Yep.
I've honestly, it's been that long since I've done it like that, so it's worth a shot on it. You can always pump it up if you've got nothing in. It's not gonna hurt. Just an algae bloom, isn't it? You suffer later on.
Right. So this is actually content that Ross will be the main instigator of this. Are you ready for this? Which power pack should I buy, Ross? Should I buy a normal standard 4-pin one, or 4-pin with switches?
To be honest, I've got both, but the 4-pin with switches is the ideal for me.
For you, okay. Dave?
I haven't got switches on mine. I don't turn any of mine off. It's all via the Apex controller anyway, isn't it? So
it's all hidden under there.
That one's powering the camera and the laptop tonight.
Right, fair enough. Right. So obviously, when we're talking power cables and stuff like that, you're now both established reefers, and I'm week 1. Is at week 1 a 4-pin? Is that good enough long term?
No. Well, I suppose depending what you're putting on. If you want to add kit, then obviously no. But you've got a light, a pump, a heater, a power head, or 2. That's pretty much it, isn't it? Or a skimmer, but you're not using a skimmer on week 1.
No, but I suppose it's at that point. It's at that point where you sort of got to think ahead of what, although you don't need that kind of stuff straight away, you are going to need it in the next like 6 months or something, aren't you? So you might as well get the right sockets and such like they're ready in the first place.
Yeah. If only I had two professionals to inform me. Do we think 4 is enough, or do I buy the 6? Because you can get strips with, I think, up to about 8 at the minute, can't you?
Mm.
That's what load you're putting through them, though, isn't it?
So Ross is, we talked about this the other day, 1 plug out the wall or 2 plugs, I can't remember. And a fucking fire hazard going, waiting to blow up. I'm going to be 2 plugs out of the wall. Forgetting all of this, but 2 plugs out of the wall. And I'm going to go, first of all, I'm going to go for the 4 because I've got one. And then see how long it is before I need the 6 that's already waiting in the house. And I don't think it's going to be too long before you actually need 6 plugs. Because if you think about it, if you've got a 4 coming out of the wall, but if you've got 2 coming out of the wall, sorry, and then you've got a 4-pin adapter, that's 5 plugs in total. So five plugs is going to do you quite a while, isn't it? Yeah. I thought that was reasonable as such. So then obviously I had a little bit of a conversation with Dave earlier with my cabinet. Now, Ross, your cabinet's different because you've got the 2-door or the 3-door where the sump is, but then you've got an actual extra cabinet, haven't you?
Yeah.
To put all of your electrical stuff. Whereas Dave's got a little 2-foot cube and he's had to put cables to the side of it. Do we think cables, because my first 3-foot with the 3-foot cabinet, this is the actual cabinet that this is here. When you've got the sump underneath, I put all of my electrics inside the cabinet above the water source.
I still have done that.
And you're
Just got to
happy
be careful
with
with humidity, and it's a damp environment, isn't it? So everyone does it. Well, a lot of people do it, but I try and steer away as much as I can. If you ain't got a choice, you ain't got a choice, have you?
It's whether you want everything nice and neat in the cabinet or all the plugs and wires and everything on the sides and what have you.
For me, it was just easier to get to in that bigger side of the stand. There's a lot more sort of wall space, if you like, to put all the sockets. It's although I've got that side cupboard, it's quite a thin one, and there's a lot of dicking around trying to fiddle around in there with half a dozen plugs and that.
Yeah.
See, he's with us in spirit, but he's got no Wi-Fi. Bless him. Right. So, consensus of opinion. Does it really matter whether the plugs are inside the cabinet or outside the cabinet, or is it one of them things that if you're willing to put the cables inside the cabinet, then you just need to be of the understanding that if it does all catch fire, make sure when the inspectors come round, you've moved it all.
Hopefully it's burnt away.
Yeah.
As long as you're savvy about, it's not dangling over and ready to drop in the sump or whatever.
Yeah.
You should be all right. You do know when you get salt creep on an extension, don't you? Or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I liked when we did your tank tour, the little blocks that you've got on the back. The little blocks that you had on the back were very good cable management, because at the end of the day, if a plug does fall, then at least it's got an extra bit of support that all of that cabling is not going to go in the water.
No.
Because cables in the water is not all that good.
Not ideal.
No, not ideal. So good evening, Darryl. How are we doing?
All right, I guess.
Yeah, he's
There's a bit of a robot there,
Definitely.
mate.
definitely crappy signal. Bear with. Right, so cabling, we're all right. I'm gonna do it outside the cabinet just so I can show it off.
Hang on. I'll throw something in the mix there.
Ooh,
Yeah. Surge protection or not?
ooh. Now you're gonna have to explain that to these two boys, and I'm gonna go and get a beer because you can see Ross the fire hazard with he's what's surge protection?
Harold, you know surge protection, don't you?
Well, it's just that little light on your block, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Just in case of lightning strikes or big power surges off the grid, just so you don't get a big overload through your expensive circuit boards. I think we've had a
I think all mine have got
go. Must admit, mine haven't.
But he's the one that just brought it up.
I know. You like to think lightning won't strike.
Right, so we've done that. I'm trying to be a little bit more professional. Hanging bracket thing. That was there. Power cables, blue. You know when you're doing pictures to show to your friends of your brand new fish tank, why are my pictures blue?
Because you need some orange sunglasses.
Or
Is
change
there
the white
anything else
balance
on
on the
the
camera.
Yeah, or you turn your blues off.
What other things are on the market? Yeah. We can't hear you that well. You're breaking in there. Just sit in the corner and you just watch. Just thumbs up, thumbs down.
This is what you need.
There you go. Look at that.
Oh,
Look at that. Yeah. Bless you. Right. So that is actually as much things that I needed to know from my first interaction with my brand new fish tank. It's still not got any salt in it. It was just cycling with water. But if I'm going to be as honest as possible about this fish tank and all of the problems that will happen, because the first year in reefing is an actual nightmare if you don't get the right information, and potentially some things will be staged because they're not just going to happen on their own occurrence, but other things will naturally happen, and then obviously I've got you three to guide me of how to do a fish tank. There's two people watching. I would presume one's Daryl's extra camera, but that then leads me on. No, he's not. So we have, all right, so we've got one person watching. I've just mentioned the second person and they buggered off. Yeah, exactly. So if the informed content of me being an idiot during the week and then coming up with problems of my fish tank to then come onto a live stream and you three give me your expert opinion because you're in the same hobby as me of then running this fish tank. Yeah. All I need to do is convince you three that I'm not a complete idiot. Now, when I'm come across on the internet, what was that frown there, you? Hey? Yeah? When I put content onto the internet, a lot of the time I'm sat in this chair, and obviously the last video that I put out, I can literally sit in a chair and work the camera now because I've figured out quite a bit of how to do stuff. And I can make anything look either real or fake. Now, I want this 3-foot marine tank to be as real as possible. And there's people out there that set up real aquariums that as we've said last time, have gone out day one and bought a 500 quid light. Now, a lot of people don't set marine tanks up with 500 quid lights, and a lot of people struggle, dosing systems, ozones, and all the different gubbins that we'll go through. But to give an honest opinion, which is what I want you three for, to give an honest opinion of what I'm doing, and then me to be as real as possible, the content side of it is what's now driving me in my marine hobby. But the influence of you giving me an idea of what to do is where we're going. So the other day, I asked the three of you to date stamp a short video that I did. And you all put a date stamp onto that short video. And I asked you for a number and exactly the position of where that number is. Yeah?
Yeah.
So all I need now, boys, because you've not seen the content, all I need now is a title for my video. And I've asked the question in the shop, and whether he's watching or not, Steve, that was in the shop, said, pissed up Lee. And I was like, right. Do we think that's an adequate title for something that you've never seen before? Or would you like to give me a different title, boys? Because the content on that side, what Darryl?
It's Ed.
Yeah.
Ed, please.
Okay, just there we go. Select that. So piss head Lee. Is that it?
That'll do.
That'll do. Right. Fair enough. So
Pissed
is it appropriate for children?
the fifth.
You broke up. I couldn't hear you then. Yeah, I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Right. So we need to choose. Is it appropriate for children? No, it's definitely not appropriate for children. We've actually got somebody else that's in the thing now. So that is now winging its way to the internet. And obviously I gave Dave a little bit of a sneak peek earlier of what it's all about. And obviously you then will get off of this and then you will be able to watch it and you will be able to figure out whether you believe my content or whether it's made up. Because obviously we're now getting people that are interacting with the channel and stuff like that. When I'm sat with a beer can in my hand, Ross, you've got a beer can in your hand. Is that empty or is it full?
It's half empty.
It's half empty. So you're only half cut empty. But then I can get a cup or a mug and nobody believes what's in it. Whether it be a cup of tea, whether it be a beer, whether it be orange juice. And obviously doing content for the internet, the only three people that I actually need to get on my side is you three. Because I'm not bothered whether the rest of the world thinks I'm an idiot. As long as you three are willing to go through a journey of a fish tank, then I'm more than happy, as long as I can sell you three that I am an idiot, but I have got a little bit of a thought process of what I want to achieve and things like that. Yeah? So, no, it's not there at the minute, but it will be soon.
It's flashed up on my screen.
Yeah, there you go. So we have literally live just posted content to the internet that was done over 3 days. I think it was done over 3 days. And obviously the interaction that people have with the short videos or the live stream or my videos I want to be as authentic as possible, but also still having a bit of a laugh and a joke, because that's what it's all about. And if you think that you know exactly what's going on, you're wrong.
I've got
Wrong,
no
I
idea
tell
what's
you.
going on.
You what?
I've got no idea what's going on.
No, exactly. But you will see it, and you will see it. Right, that's it. That's as much as I've done. We've done 35 minutes. Has anybody got anything interesting that they've been doing this last week? Dave, what you been up to?
What
Oh, what's that, Dave?
the prototype butterfly
let's-
feeder?
Oh, no, I weren't meant to kick him off. Let's
What did you
add
kick him off?
Let's press
Was it that
a
good, was
different button.
So
Ah,
no magnets on a suction. Don't like magnets. It's just a tolerance
right, yeah.
fit. So that should
That'll
should
work.
do the job.
And I've removed him again. Jesus, wet. And have we decided whether they're going to be in different colour options, or are they going to be one colour option?
Haven't decided any of that yet, to be fair.
All right, fair enough.
Obviously, they'll be in black's the first colour, in it, and then I suppose you could do blue, green, yellow, whatever you want. Iridescent, I think they'd even do an iridescent one, don't they? That look quite cool.
Wickedy
It's just a fish feeder. So
That looks bloody bang on, that. Does the job.
you could do a square one as well, couldn't you? Really? The round one works nice.
I would go down this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, your internet is shocking, by the way, Daryl. Where are you?
In the garage.
Oh, in your garage at home.
House.
Well, I
Right.
changed the system again.
Oh, are you mixing water, or is you just wanted to get your mixing station on content, didn't you? That's what it was.
No, the kids know that are in the house. And I've been fucking around with the GHL stuff from Rotor, so
You need a Wi-Fi booster.
Yeah.
You need a Wi-Fi booster. Ross, what have you been up to this week? Anything good?
I've done this week.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's definitely get that on. Oh, and how is that any different to any other week?
Not killing
Well-
to it every week, is he?
No, not quite. Well, when did I come see you, Darryl? What was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? Can't remember now. Must be 2 weeks, isn't it? Yeah. So that's been in for 2 weeks and ended up like that.
And bailed on you already.
Yeah. No, it was. I put it pretty much at one of the highest points in the tank. So I don't know.
So what do we think that's down to, boys?
you don't know,
Wait.
do you? Well, what do you think it's down to? You don't know, because you need to send off an nice EP or something like that. Maybe it's something in the water. Maybe it's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too strong of a light. So I reckon that probably managed the light.
All
Let's
we
write
need-
some comments,
All we
Darryl.
all we need from you this week is just sit there. That's all we need. I know we've had sound issues and we've had internet issues and we've had all sorts of different issues on the live stream, but none of the sound issues, because I don't even know whether I've sorted the sound issues out on this microphone. But we definitely know exactly. We definitely know that you're intermittent. Definitely. definitely. Right. So that, boys, that's as much as I've got this week. That's as much as I've got, because we're now embarking on proper content, proper adult content, not dick pics or anything like that, but proper informed way of doing a brand new marine tank with experts, and then see where we go. Now, I'm going to finish the live stream tonight, and I'm going to sit in this chair, and then I'm going to record stuff and make my next video, because my next video is about ready for being finished. That will then lead the conversation for the week after, that you'll be able, because I can't get rid of you three not viewing my content, because I wouldn't have any viewers, would I? So you could then, I will then make up problems or have problems to then tell the whole wide world, these are my problems. The whole wide world can then interact with the content that I do during the week. And then when we get to the live stream, we'll have things that like Ryan, I don't know whether you're still here. I don't think he is, because I've got no viewers. But Ryan could then give his opinion on my problems. And Liam, that's not here, he could give his opinion. And then at the end of the day, when we get to the following week on the Friday, we can discuss all of the things that have gone on during the week as like a live process. And then we can tell Ryan and Liam that are not here, so we might as well talk about them, that we know better than you.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Right.
Mixing your salt then.
I'm going to buy salt from the shop to start with. But everybody starting a tank from day one would not have the mixing equipment or the salt or all of the different things. So I'm mixing. Well, technically, I'm mixing my own salt at
You
work.
don't need mixing equipment, really. You can do it from, if you have RO in the tank, you can just pour it in the tank if you're brave enough after we've measured it.
Yes, you could. And would you see the benefit from the process of mixing your own salt on day one? Because you wouldn't know how to mix it to start with, apart from what it said on the bucket, and you wouldn't know all of the different things. I would have to go out and buy a refractometer, which I haven't got.
You still want to be doing anyway, even though you're buying salt water. You're still going to need it at that piece of kit regardless, aren't you, whether you're mixing or not?
Yeah.
So if only I was about to fucking come off this live stream and produce content for next week saying what's the first equipment that we need.
Well, you keep telling us you're setting up this tank and you want content, so we're telling you.
Dearie me. Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree, as a first time saltwater tank, I would be buying it from, I still do buy it from the shop anyway.
Yeah.
Because at least you can, it's something out of your control that you can kind of trust, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now you've just spoilt all of my content for next week.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna fucking slate you now. That's it. You ruined it. Temperature. What temperature would you run your tank at?
Mine's set at 25 and a half.
Yeah, mine's the same.
So does it make a difference? So I run some of my tanks at 24 and a half. does it make a difference in coral growth, the temperature that you set it at? It's a pointless question asking Ross because he just keeps
I wouldn't
killing
know.
Never run a tank under 25. Summertime, it's always going to be. I think that I'm just managing to keep this at 20, around 26. Still got stuff growing. Once you get over 27, things aren't. Some of the things aren't liking it. So
Yeah, so mine's been up as high as 28 recently at a certain time.
I think this
Right.
one's been up at over 28, and I've got a chalice that's suffered, it's receded. And the frag tank's been at 29 at one point, but there's only fish and a couple of toadstools in there, so they're not too fussed in there.
Mm.
Right.
I mean, you can run them that. I think some Americans run them high anyway, don't they? It's just anything over 29 for prolonged periods. That's when corals don't like it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right. So that was the only one that, in theory, you can join in on, because I am going to go and ask the very question. I'm not going to ask it to you now, because all of the people that want to have influence on the channel, they could then put their comments on my video during the week, and then we can ratify it at the end of the week, because there's bound to be stuff out there that we don't think of as a week one thing that you would need. And then obviously, rather than us informing the people that are not people do start watching, they can then put comments of thinking back to when they first started, what they missed out on, and then obviously we can, is it worth it at the end, and try and do a little bit of a content during the week, and then a live chat discussing it at the end. And if people want to join in the process, that they can't sit on a Friday night and talk to us, that they can at least have their opinion thought about, because there's a lot of people on the internet that just put content out there that think that they know everything, and I don't want to do that.
Well, sometimes it's the little things when you're first starting up, like Dave said about you do need a refractometer to check your salinity. Simple things like your barrels that you need, and the plastic bucket that you need, and all that kind of stuff. Exactly, yeah. It's not all necessarily high-end kit that we're talking about. It's just simple things that all add up, if you like. And when you first start, it seems like a constant flow of you need this, you need this, you need this.
Mm.
Obviously, once you've got those things,
you need to have basically a budget for a fish tank, and then an extra budget for and all of the initial things that you need before you even start putting fish in it, basically. Yeah. So you as long as I can get you, as I say, if I can get you three, because you three have bought into my stupidness to start with, and believe me that I am trying to think about content for the internet. And did you notice that, well, you will have noticed because I've sent it in the WhatsApp group, that this afternoon, 100 subscribers. Now I've got 101 now. Don't know where that one came from.
It's a shame we can't see who these people are, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't really, as long as that number at the top keeps going up, I really don't care who they are. They may be in different countries. I really don't care. As long as they keep helping the channel by watching content, and as long as they're enjoying what they watch, if you are enjoying what you watch, then drop the boys a comment, because I then try and feed back as much as possible to the boys that I'm getting viewers and things like that. And they keep turning up on a Friday night, so I might not be doing stuff too off the wall. But that then obviously leads on a little bit of knowing the boundaries of where the content is. Now, I think this last week has been highlighted that I've put content out there that I wasn't 100% sure of myself, and then I put it in the group chat of what did you think, and then we've come to a consensus of opinion that was not what the content needs to be. It needs to be light and refreshing, needs to be informative, and as long as we can have a laugh at the same time, that's the sort of the process of doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So sign off, but then stick around, boys. Don't go anywhere. It's just for these people that aren't watching. But hopefully the sound this week was better. Daryl's internet's been playing up, but we'll sort that. We might have to chip in. But I cut you off last week for not doing a sign off. Come on, give us a sign off, boys.
See you later.
Yes.
That's it. We're all